All right. Hey, ladies. Hey, ladies. Happy Saturday.
Happy
Happy-
Saturday.
yes. I'm so excited to have Miss Anita Douglas with us today. Can you say hi, Miss Anita?
Hi, everyone. So glad to be here. So glad to be here.
Yes, and we are honored to have you here today. Ladies, today is a very special day. We are so blessed to have Miss Anita on our show today, and I'm so grateful that she accepted the invitation to be on the show. So, first of all, I want to say thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. So, Miss Anita, just let's just get started.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Goodness, Miss Anita has a bachelor's degree, lady. She has a master's degree. Okay, she's an AKA. She has a corporate career. She's a philanthropist. She's a part of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women Incorporated. So Miss Anita has a list of credentials, and she is here to share her story and to talk to us about business. Okay, ladies? So first, Miss Anita, can you tell us more about yourself? Who are you? Where are you from? And can you tell us about your family structure?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, as you all know, my name is Anita A. Douglas, and I am first a daughter of the King. I always got to put that before everything. I was actually born in Kingston, Jamaica. I was raised in Chicago, Illinois. As it relates to my family structure, my immediate family structure in my upbringing consisted mainly of me, my mom, and my two younger brothers. My dad lives in Jamaica, so I was primarily raised into a single parent household. And because I was in a single parent household, my mom worked a lot. Of the time, and I was at home. I was a babysitter, the overseer of my younger brothers, and my outlet was always, school, being involved in the community and things like that. And that's where a lot of my exposure actually came from and desire to always want to do more and things like that.
Wow, that's awesome. So how did you get started in business? How did that happen?
How did I get started in business?
What
I
motivated?
hmm. It actually started 5 years ago. For as long as I can remember, I've always been like the go-to person for problems that needed immediate solutions. So whether that be, in my role being the family therapist, the secretary, the makeup artist, people know me from different aspects of my life. I always was on speed dial when those closest to me needed some sort of assistance. I guess my trustworthiness, being calm under pressure demeanor made me a great ally for those frantically trying to balance life and all of its hurdles. So 5 years ago, as a formal social worker, I was, eyeballs deep in paperwork. I remember thinking to myself, there's got to be another way. As much as I loved my babies, I loved what I do at the core. So I love my little babies, as I affectionately call them. My life actually began to be so consumed with them that even when I was at home, I was stressing out about work. I knew I wasn't alone, so I began to just try to figure out what can I do to create a solution, because here I am. I love the core of what I do, helping the children and showing up for them and making an impact in that kind of way. But in that role, there was so much paperwork that took away the joys of, me being able to do what I needed to do. So at my core, I have always taken pride in serving and making an impact in people's lives. As I mentioned, as a female, as female entrepreneurship actually increased, I thought to myself, what if I could help other women just like me or other business owners relieve some of the pressures of paperwork and focus on the things that they are truly good at. And because I knew I could whip up a spreadsheet, organize your inbox in 5 minutes flat, I knew that I had a valuable skill set, that could afford me the kind of freedom that I longed for and that I knew that I deserved. When I thought about entrepreneurship, that was actually what I thought, not as much about exactly what it was going to be, because it took a little bit to craft what my business was going to look like, the structure and all of that, the name, everything. However, entrepreneurship itself was very appealing to me because I knew that, even at that time, although I didn't know all of the details, I knew that as an entrepreneur, you could print your own money pretty much. You could shape how you want to do business. As a Christian woman, I could say I want to incorporate faith-based values within my business if I wanted to, without someone saying, no, you can't do this or you can't do it this way. There's no limit on the type of impact that I want or would want to make in the world. So there was so much appealing about the entrepreneurship journey that I just got started. That's how Crown Innovative Business Solutions was born.
Yes, that is so awesome. And I love the way that you said that you were able to create and design your business how you would like it. I know for me, I used to work at this corporate job. And after every call, I would say, God bless, have a great day.
Yeah.
She was like, here, you cannot say God bless. Not keep saying that, but it's who I am, and He is a part of me, So I love to incorporate God in your business and everything it is that you're doing,
Absolutely.
And so, with starting a business, what were some of the obstacles and challenges that you faced as a woman entrepreneur when you first got started?
I would say just really, one of the biggest things that I've had to overcome from the beginning up until now is the psychology component, the mindset, the lies that, we tell ourselves, allowing the enemy to pretty much distract me or rob me from the purpose that God has told me that He was aligning me to. And so it's just really demystifying those lies and saying, despite what the negativity that you're hearing, flip over to the flip side. And so for me, it was always trying to stay on top of my mindset, because if there is one thing that I've learned in this journey, consistency is key. And you cannot be consistent if you're afraid to succeed. You're afraid to ask for help. You are afraid to invest in yourself or invest in your business, or you're afraid about what other people may think. Or if you're thinking to yourself, I can't do this, those are the lies that we tell. And some of those are the things that, I've had to overcome in my own journey to get to where I am now.
Yes. And so how did you overcome the mind, right? Like when you have so many people in your ear telling you, what you can do, what you can't do, who you are, who you're not. And then you begin to feel like I'm not enough. Your self-esteem gets low. What did you do to overcome the noise? That's what I call it. I call it the
noise. Get that noise out. For me, first of all, it always took for me to find a way to bring myself back to that place of knowing whose I am and who I am, right? And if I forgot, I had to figure out how can I regularly, reaffirm these things in my life despite what's happening. Because to be real, this journey is going to require faith. Despite what somebody else say you can't do, if God said that you could do it, Anything is possible, literally. And so to get to that place of always remembering those things, for me, I'll tell you the things that I regularly do to try to overcome the noise, to quiet the noise and not let it hinder me from moving forward. One, I've developed different routines to kind of help me, because I had to think about in my journey, there were different moments and times where I felt like I could do it. I could do anything. This business is going to go from here to there to the end of the world. And then there are other moments where you feel like, okay, it's time to close shop. I don't know if I could do this. Nobody bought services this week, this month. This year I've only had a few. What to do? Is this really what I should be doing? Yet just a few weeks ago, it was, this is it. This is what God was showing me to do. We're up here. You go from up here to down here, then go back up. I had to find a way to bring myself back to this high place as frequently as possible. And I recognized the activities that I did that brought me to that place, and figured out a way to consistently bring that into my routine. So one of the things I remember, going to conferences, when I went to conferences, those, with the motivational speakers up on the stage, they're yelling at you, telling you could do this, I felt like I could do anything every time I left. And so from there on, we had a pandemic, and that showed you that the conference won't always be there, but you have to find a way to get your motivation, which was one of the things. So sometimes I may listen to videos on YouTube with some of my favorite motivational speakers, but it's always some type of motivation at least 5 days a week, whether I am reading it, whether I'm listening to the video. I listen to some sort of motivation. I read the word, find some time to read the Bible, because even in some of these motivational books and workshops and things like that, they reaffirm a lot of things that, is in the word itself. So I go there sometimes, well, a lot more of the times, because like I said, I'm his. And so it's important for me to keep that relationship going. And that's one of the things that keep me grounded and bring me back to that place. And then reading, there's a lot in these books, successful people leave clues. And so if I'm not reading it, I am aligning myself with other people that are going the places that I'm intending to go, right? Because it's just like, again, if they're leaving clues, they could drop it right along the same pathway that I'm walking, or as we're talking, asking for either help, guidance, or, just that energy. If you are the only one in your group that's trying to go somewhere, where are you going to get the energy from? That push to continue to go on, to try to reinvent yourself when things aren't going right, or to pick yourself back up when you've had a horrible week last week. The go-getters now, the successful crew over here, they pushing, not that they don't have bad days, but they're picking themselves and keep going. They're continuing to do. And so I've made a conscious decision to either stay on this path, and when I can't, be with, that group of people, I could always go back to, that intimate time with God. And it always brings me to that place of reminding me of who I am and whose I am, and knowing that I could do it. When I first started my business, there was so much I did not know how to do. There was so much I didn't know how to do. And then even you mentioned as a woman in business, when I started having calls with, I remember I had a call with a very, direct guy from New York, and he's like he knows everything about business, his business. And here I am starting business, and I'm here shaking. I'm like, I wonder if, I, even in that moment, I had to pause for the calls and remember, Anita, with God, all things are possible. Do not fear. And if this is for you, it is for you. If this client isn't for you, it's not for you. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. And I think that some of the times overwhelming yourself with all of that can prevent you from moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Stephanie mentioned here, she said we discussed being consistent. Consistency is key in business and
Yes,
great
yes, yes.
business. And that's one thing you guys make sure you go follow Anita. One thing she is very, very consistent. Now, Miss Anita, can you tell us more about your business? What it is that you do to help other entrepreneurs?
Absolutely. Okay, so I have a remote staffing agency, and we provide virtual assistance in the areas of admin and digital marketing assistance. And so that could be to small business owners, nonprofits, and our small business owners, that could be professional service providers, so a lawyer, an accountant, an attorney, whatever, a creative, author, coach, speaker. We help them to be able to free themselves from a life of hustle and to create more space for freedom. You know, freedom to be able to do more, freedom to be able to gain more, and freedom to live.
Yes, and one thing I work with a lot of business women, and a lot of business women, they are looking for help, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're trying to market on social media, create business plans and
Yes.
strategies, grow our
Mm-hmm.
business. And we're trying to do
Yes.
it all, kind of like you said when you first started in business and you're just figuring it all out. That's
Yes.
where majority of us are just trying to figure it out. And like you said, it can get very overwhelming. And that's why
Yes.
it's a benefit that you have this business, because we can go to you for a consultation. And if we need help with growing our business or creating a business plan and strategy or social media marketing, you have all of this in one business, like everything that we all need.
Yes, 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 indeed. Yes, indeed. And I think that, before COVID hit, it was like a lot of people weren't as, they weren't as open to the virtual work landscape, and nor did as many people know what virtual assistants did and things like that. And even for those who now aren't as familiar, I say think about your regular secretary. It is your secretary virtually. We can help with clearing out emails, managing emails, following up with clients, calendar and scheduling, managing the CRM, setting up accounts, um, online research. Like we're doing this webinar right now. And that's something like when I did my last webinar, you asked me what platform I use. I know the name of it, but I know none of the functions. My VA did every part of that for me, from setting it up to, making sure, my guests got into the waiting room, to managing the process, sending out the emails, and following up with people afterwards, and in regards to any communication as it related to whatever the topic was, or if there was some type of special promotion. They're there because, like you said, things can get so overwhelming, and you just cannot do it all. You can't do everything by yourself in business. Initially, when you first get started, I'll be honest, because there is a cost associated with everything. You try to do as much as you can with what you have. But when you get to that point of wanting to go higher, to do more, you're so consumed with all 24 hours of your day, and you still cannot scale up. You need to hand some things over to someone else, whether that be managing your social media platform. And again, I do part of that. So sometimes, a lot of successful people, they drop clues. Sometimes they don't tell you everything that they delegate or they hand over to someone. They just appear so perfect. But the reality is, a lot of them, they outsource and delegate things to other strength-based businesses or people, to do things that either they're weak at, or things that alleviate them from doing that, so they could focus on the main elements of their business, or the things that they need to do to get closer to achieving their dreams. And so whether that's a business owner or even a nonprofit, who's looking to get closely aligned with their mission, and they're so consumed with one person doing everything, or due to the pandemic, they've had to lay off a bunch of people. And again, it may be a 3-4 person shop, but they're taking on so many roles that they can't focus on any particular thing, bringing in, donations and things like that. So even there's so much space to hand over the work to someone. And the great thing about virtual assistant services, you don't have to pay a full-time employee. So a lot of people think that, when it's time to grow, scale your business, that, I have to be able to pay, a full-time employee or even part-time, and where you have to think about even the benefits, the insurance, the training, the onboarding, all of that stuff. With us, we alleviate that stress. First of all, with virtual assistant services, with CIBS services, you're able to get someone to help you with as little as 10 hours for the month. So you get someone to help you with as much time as you need them to help you with. And that could be administratively or digital, in the digital marketing arena. And we do the vetting. We have a 5-star vetting process where we actually take the time to find the ideal candidate for your business. We do personality assessments, interview, multi-level, a series of interviews. We train them, we onboard them, and get them ready to meet with you, so that, a lot of times that is one of the pain points. One of the main pain points for our clients is that point of finding that reliable person that will be able to get where you're trying to go and understand how you move. And so that's one thing that we're able to alleviate. And you don't have to worry about benefits. You don't have to worry about trying to provide them with a laptop or anything like that. They come in ready to work and ready to go, and we help to manage the process.
Yes, absolutely. And one of our viewers said the lack of trust will cause a business to sink. You have to let go of control and allow people to help you. And allow people to help you.
Absolutely. That is true. Many leaders actually struggle with letting go. And she talked about sinking. So I always think about the analogy of a ship. She's so right. If you're the leader in your business and you're steering the boat, how can you steer the boat, bring people on the boat, off the boat, give them food, give them, the 5-star service, make sure that the bathroom is clean, make sure everything's the music is playing if you're on the yacht sailing. Like, you cannot do all of that while driving the boat. We all gonna sing. And so that is the reality. That's just like in the business. So often you do find, a lot of women that are just so consumed and overwhelmed with, it all. Just like, I'm tired. You talk to them, I'm tired. I'm just tired. You tired.
Yeah, it's like a burnout.
But it's because entrepreneurship, it is something that is very glamorized, but it is not easy. It does take a lot of work. It does take a lot of commitment and dedication. And there are many to have a thriving business. There's so many different components of the business that you have to make sure that all parts are you're investing back in all parts, and that it's all running right. Or like we're talking about the boat again, if every part of the boat isn't functioning well, that boat is going to sink. Or guess what? It's a boat, you're steering it. Nothing on the boat has been well maintained. Nobody else is going to pay for services on your boat. So you have to get help. You can't continue to grow and do everything by yourself. So you have to start from that place of, I'm doing everything, because that's where we're starting from, to figuring out, what can I take off of my plate little by little as you grow. That's where you want to get to a place of doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And can we talk more about how you're a business owner, you work in corporate America, you have
Yes.
your own personal life.
Yes.
Where do you find time for yourself and self-care? Because over here we all about self-care, right, ladies?
Yes. Yeah.
Where do
It's
you find time for you?
At first, it was hard, and it sounded just like you said. It went to finding time because there was a place where I was the one in my business trying to do everything, and I'm no longer doing that, right? And I'm like, in order for me to continue to be my best self and also continue to pour into the people that are around me, all in all the spaces that you mentioned before, whether it be work, whether it be at home, whether it be in my business. I have my own personal virtual assistants, and then I have a team of VAs that serve other clients. If I'm not good, nobody else is going to be able to benefit from what I bring to the table. And that was something that I had to recognize, but it didn't come to me how important it was until I had something like a mental, emotional breakdown, and I recognized like I couldn't do anything, couldn't show up in any area of my life. From that day forward, I said, I am going to be very intentional about my self-care, whatever that looked like. And from then I actually took the pen to paper and started to write down what are the things that I want to do to invest in my self-care every month. I'm in one mastermind group that encourages us to put it on the calendar. Put a spa day on the calendar, and your spa day don't necessarily have to be going to the spa itself, but it's that alone time, that quiet time, that time to think strategically or just peacefully or just meditate, that time to reflect on life and then also reflect back on you, appreciate you, your value, all that you bring to the table. If nobody else does, you got to do that, right? And so for me, I intentionally schedule my spa. I do spa days. I actually go to the spa. I get massages monthly, and that is how I no longer am finding time. I make time.
Hello.
It is important for me. The other day I went to my massage session, and we get so used to like always having our phone in our hand. When you don't have the phone, you have the watch on your wrist, and when that's not there, you got the Bluetooth, something to always alert you for a notification. And I was walking in, and a notification, my phone started to ring, and I'm like, nothing will happen if I don't respond within this hour. Like if it's a emergency, whoever's calling me could also call 911. If it is like whatever it is, it could wait outside of this 1 hour that I planned for myself. I'm not guarded. So even if there is something that is that bad, he got to step in, because I am not that person that could do everything, be everything to everybody all the time and not give back to myself.
Exactly. And one of the things I do every day, I have my hour workouts, and people know like that is my time. Like my hour workouts, that is my time. And my sauna afterwards, that is my time.
Yes. Listen, I'm so serious. I was just actually talking to my fiance about that time. I take it so serious. Like I am now exercising 5 days a week doing boot camp. And like it's so like that time again, that's almost like my spa day. It's like my phone is gone and I am pouring back into me and my body, my health. And then when I go into the sauna, I don't even, sometimes people come in, want to talk, turn the lights on. I'm like, I'll act like I'm sleeping. I'm asleep. Let me have this time.
Oh my gosh, they are ready to talk. So can you tell us a little bit more about your future ambitions and some things that you have coming up in August?
Absolutely. So future ambitions, definitely to grow my business globally. That is something, a very big ambition that I have. I have been, in thinking a lot about my own personal net worth and my growing and my entrepreneurship journey. One of the things that I took the time to find out about is, our financial wealth and health. And so, really taking the time to be able to grow my portfolios, and I want to have a net worth of $1 million, and so that is so that is definitely that's first step. So we're gonna go there, and that's helping to lead other investments and things like that, which I'm very excited about, because this is my way of breaking generational curses. And so that that is an ambition and something that I'm also constantly working on and towards. So stay tuned for whatever else is to come. Develop more, partnerships and collaborations with other, business leaders, owners trying to make a great impact in the world. And talking about making an impact, I know I spoke a little bit about nonprofits, opening up to give that access to more nonprofits to be able to benefit from our services, and then also to be able to speak more. I've used my business as my ministry to be able to speak into my clients and my VAs, but I know, like, God has already showed me that it's bigger than that. So really taking all that has been given to me and being able to share it with the world, and always finding a way to reach down and pull up and reach out and bring in, paying it forward is very important to me, and investing back into, those who can't help themselves.
Yes, that is so awesome. And I pray that you become a multi-millionaire. Okay.
Okay. Yes. And then I know you mentioned it in August. So we having, sorry, I cut you off. Did I cut you off? We're not gonna stop at $1 million. That's just the first, that's the first. I gotta create my gotta step it up, after I create the goals. Sometimes that's one thing, as we start in our journey, you start thinking about how big something is, and sometimes you can get discouraged. Yeah. So sometimes I do create little pockets, like my mini goals, to work towards. After I get there, okay, next one, let's go. God, what you say? All right, I could go higher, let's go higher. And so that's first step. And then you mentioned the event in August. So I do have something coming up. I will share the flyer with you for you to share with everyone. And that is really, I will be teaming up with the Disrupt Her coach herself. Her name is Crystal Davis. And she teach people how to be able to be disruptive in like non-traditional women-led industries or roles and things like that. But she's also one of our favorite clients, and I mean favorite mainly because she's been with us for a while. And so she is going to be able to, a lot of people think about getting virtual assistant services, but aren't sure how to make it work for them. She's going to be able to help us understand how you can be disruptive in your industry utilizing virtual assistant services. And that will be on August, I believe it's August 4th at 5 p.m. Mm-hmm. And we will share the flyer for that.
Yes. Thank you so much, Miss Anita, for being a part of the show. I really enjoyed this conversation. I see the ladies have really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you, ladies.
I'm honored to have you here today. Is there anything else before we close out? Because we move over. Anything else you want to leave with the lady? Any encouragement, any steps, anything you have for women entrepreneurs who are just getting started in business?
Absolutely. First of all, I would say have faith. Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith is a confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. When you get started, you cannot really see every part of this journey and where you're going. You may have been exposed to a little bit, but you don't have everything, right in front of you. And you don't just walk through the door and you're at your highest peak. So this journey will require you to keep that faith. So whatever you have to do to reinvest in yourself or build to, for me, it's going back to the word, or, building on that relationship with the Lord. But always remember, write it down, have faith in this journey, because anything is possible. Don't let anyone discourage you from thinking big, dreaming big, accomplishing your goals, because you can do it. You can do it. On my last video series, I asked the people that joined to say, I'm possible. You have to believe that. And even when you can't see it, okay? So that's one. The second is, if you haven't got started, to get started, a lot of times we get on these talks and people want to know all the ins and outs and every part of the process, but your journey is going to be different from someone else's in the same industry. You can learn from other successful people, but you have to get started in your journey to figure out what is going to make what is going to distinguish you, and what are going to be your tests for your testimony later on. So I would say get started. I shared with Kiara that probably for the first 6 months of my business that I overthought everything from trying to figure out where and how do I get my website. I'm struggling. I was probably like 5 months trying to build a template website and struggled poorly with doing that. Trying to figure out branding, trying to figure out all the things that really didn't even matter. And I'm going to tell all of you all that my very first client never looked at my website. She never looked at my website, and I didn't figure out until that day that I actually needed a portal to collect some way to collect payment from my client. I created a contract on that day. But if I never got started, I wouldn't even know some of those, like I didn't even know to ask those particular questions from someone else. So get started. Don't be afraid to ask for help. That's one of the lies that we tell, that we can't ask for help. Ask for help. Figure out, find you a mentor, or align yourself with some sort of mastermind group, or, a mentor doesn't even always have to be someone in person. I had a mentor that, spoke to me through all of these YouTube videos, but find a way to get help. Invest in you and invest in your business. As you grow, you need to remember that just like you want someone to invest in your business, everything is not going to be for free. So you will end up having to invest in other people's businesses to build up your business. You will have to invest in yourself, whether that's personal development, leadership, things that you have to do, leadership development, things to help you grow. Conferences, workshops, retreats, your self-care. Invest in you, and invest in your business. Continue. You cannot be in 2021, doing everything from the 1980s in your business. Think about new, innovative ways, things to be able to, set your business apart. You probably can't invest in everything right away, but start small. Invest in things that are going to help your business grow, because in the end, that is going to help you to be able to get back money. If you're doing things that's going to maximize your efficiency, things that's going to make your business, better, and increase the longevity of your business, it's worth it. It's still worth investing, right? And then I would say delegate. Think more strategically instead of always being reactive. You must identify the things that only you can do, meaning no one else can fill this role, and the things that can be delegated with directions. So we talked about this earlier with the leader steering the ship. You could do that for only so long. When it's just you on the boat and you just need to reach back, when you're driving, you just need to reach back and grab your purse, and you can still reach out the purse, put on your lipstick while you're at the stoplight, and things like that. You can hit answer on the steering wheel or the Bluetooth device to answer. But as your vehicle gets bigger, you cannot be able to do all of those things and still drive. Right? You got 4 more rows in the back of you. You can't get to the trunk and still drive the vehicle and drive everyone that's behind you. So you have to find ways to be able to take things off of your plate and give to someone else. And, as you grow, you just find cost efficiency. In the beginning is what you will need, but then you figure out what is best for your business. Because delegating, I'm a virtual assistant, and we have a virtual assistant company, and it's no shameless plug, because I believe it's an investment worth making, because it helps you to make money. It definitely helps you to make money. All the things that Kiara mentioned earlier as it relates to social media and all of these other things that we have to do day in and day out to maintain our businesses, it's a lot. I myself, that was something that I struggled with for a while, till I said, although I had a business, I was just giving the work to other people. But I realized that I cannot every day spend like 4 hours going through these emails, replying to everything by myself, and still have these sessions here, still take the time to call and talk to my clients, see how everything is going, or develop the business, or, do the things necessary to scale, build out my strategic plan. There's no time for that. If you're editing documents by yourself, creating a presentation, and doing it all at one time by yourself all the time, for a period of time, that is okay, because I could say that I had to do that. I started my business with nothing. But as you decide you want to grow and scale, get some time back, you're looking to make more, you have to find a way to outsource and delegate. And that's where we come in, okay? Crown Innovative Business Solutions is a resource for you. And I know Kiara asked me to share how you guys can follow me. We have a website, cibsglobal.com. On that website, you can find more information about our services. We also have a blog that you can sign up for, where we talk about, how to actually be able to delegate successfully, talk about leadership tips and skills, and more will be released throughout the year. We have so many things that we will be pushing out throughout this year. So I will encourage all of you guys to go on there and sign up for our blogs, if nothing else. We also have social media pages. So we're on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. On all pages, you could either type in the full name, Crown Innovative Business Solutions, or you can just type in CIBS Assist, and that's ASSIST. So that's CIBS Assist on all of the platforms. And then if you would like to follow my personal page, I'm Anita A. Douglas, and I could be reached via email, anita@cibsglobal.com. And I just want to say thank you. I know that we mentioned earlier the event. I'll share the flyer with Kiara for you guys to be able to join me and just learn how you could be disruptive with delegating some of, the things that you do now to a virtual assistant.
Yes. Thank you so much for all that information. I hope you ladies were taking notes. And if you weren't, y'all go back and watch this replay and take these notes, because she just created y'all a 6 or 7 figure business. Okay?
Right, let's say that.
Just off the information she gave y'all today. So after this live, what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop her flyer, and then I'm going to drop her blog site, her website, her Facebook, her Instagram, and all the pages that you can go ahead and connect with her at. Make sure you're at her course on August the 4th. So make sure you guys sign up for that, okay? So thank you so much for taking the time out today, Miss Anita, to share your business and share your life with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you all, everyone who have been viewing and everyone that is going to view in the future. Thank y'all, and I wish you the best in your business. And just remember, you can do it. Write down a note to yourself, I'm possible, because when nobody else is able to encourage you, you got to be able to encourage yourself. But I'm telling you right now, you are possible and you could do it.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Have a good Saturday. Bye, ladies.
Take care.